Awesome, thank you. Thanks, John. I really appreciate that. As John mentioned, I am Kelly Bojarski, Director of Training Systems here at Inside Real Estate. And today's session, this afternoon, we're going to be building on what we started this morning. Thank you guys so much for coming back, for those of you that did. I appreciate those familiar faces. We're going to be focusing on growth strategies and some of the tools that you can use to generate leads from kvCORE. You can use the free tools that are part of your kvCORE platform. You can build your own strategies, your own marketing niches, and there's also options in the marketplace if you decide to just put it on auto dial and let our marketing specialist do it for you. Either way you slice it, we've got all sorts of tools available for you. So what I want to do is I really want you to understand, number one, again, kvCORE doesn't really care where you get your leads from. The important part is that it's really important that you have contacts and add your leads consistently into your database. And also how to integrate any existing lead generation sources that you have. My favorite part is we're going to be talking about landing pages, squeeze pages, and some call capture tools using your smart number. And of course, there's some tools in the marketplace that if we have time, I'm going to go through those as well. But first, I want to share with you one growth strategy that's probably familiar with most of you, okay? This should be familiar to you, and that's the listing process. Because there's basically five opportunities to market and to get yourself in front of people during a listing. The first one is the coming soon. It's when they're not quite in MLS yet. Now, depending on what your rules and regulations are and whether you have coming soons in your database or in your MLS, you might actually see that as an option. Already from your system to do maybe a squeeze page. But most of the time agents find that they're promoting those coming soons using landing pages. Why? Because it's not on the MLS. And anything that's not on the MLS, you can promote it using a landing page in combination with something else. Because a landing page basically is a one-page website. And it allows you to capture leads. It's almost like having your own registration site right there in front of you. And by simply configuring this simple landing page and then driving traffic to wherever you want to land them, maybe it's a custom page on your website, maybe it's to a blog post, maybe it's to somebody else's website, maybe you're doing a community event and you want to partner with a local sponsor and you want to point it to their website. You can use a landing page, send the traffic to their website, and you can capture the lead in your kvCORE. So landing pages are awesome for coming soons. And it's great because you don't need to have that content built into you're not dependent upon the MLS for it. The other stage, and I'm going to skip to the end one, is the just solds. Because again, now the property is no longer available. It's been sold. It's not going to be showing up in your active listings within kvCORE. So this is a good opportunity to, again, use a landing page. Share with everybody that, your great experience. The Thompsons just sold their house above asking price. Get your free home valuation and learn how I can do the same for you. That would be a good growth strategy to capture leads in the last stage. And everything in between is going to be just listeds, open houses, and every time there might be a pricing improvement, that price reduction, right? And so that's where you're going to use a squeeze page. Because what a squeeze page does is a squeeze page takes the listing or any group of inventory on your website, or maybe even that seller valuation that you have, and it creates a link directly to that page. And when you use it, it squeezes people over to that listing on your website. Now, could you do the same thing? Could you create a squeeze page from your website? You absolutely could. I'm going to show you why you're going to want to do it through kvCORE to automate some of that follow-up that we talked about this morning. Okay, but this is a really simple 5-stage listing process where you simply just using a landing page and a squeeze page, you've got 5 new opportunities to get leads. Okay. Remember, the lead capture in a squeeze page is when the lead comes to your website and they look at that property for however many times you have it set up in your squeeze page before that forced registration pops up, and that's where you're going to capture them as a lead. Versus a landing page, you're actually having them enter their information before they land wherever they're going. So that's what the biggest difference is. The landing page, you capture their information while they're on the landing page, and the squeeze page squeezes them to your website, and then they register and sign up as a lead. So it's a before and an after, and your squeeze pages work with active listings on your website or a specific tool like your seller valuation or a market report, because those are two tools within your platform where you can squeeze people to. So there's other types of lead generation techniques that you can use that are just as easy as that 5-stage listing, and those are market-specific campaigns. Things like promoting your community events. How many of you do community events in your area? Okay, I see a couple of hands. What do you do? What do you do?
We did the Henry Street open house.
An open house? Okay. What else? What other type of community events?
Streets.
Anybody do, promote like a baseball team, sponsor a baseball team, or put on that local community garage sale? Or I heard you had a slip and slide event last year.
Slip and slide.
Slip and slide. Oh my gosh, what a great way to capture leads. Promote the slip and slide event using a landing page. Get all those people to sign up using a landing page and then route them over to wherever that event page is, maybe on your main website, or maybe a custom page that you've built. What a great way to promote that. I heard you got over 10,000 people there last time that you did that slip and slide event. That'd be a great way to get leads, right? That's awesome. Events you sponsor, promoting to specific targeted niches. Here we are in Hope College, right? So I'm sure there's some really great opportunities for people to buy maybe new homes or condos or apartments or something for their kids to come and live in rather than living in the dorms the whole time, right? So you can promote homes in and near Hope College under $500,000. That's a group of properties in a specific area, and you already have a target market that you're going to focus to, right? And maybe boost that through a Facebook group that you're a part of, or a neighborhood group that you know of through Facebook or your social media. So you could really get creative. I always tell people you're only limited by your own creativity when you're using market-specific campaigns. New construction. I mean, you could do a whole squeeze page, multi-property squeeze page, and promote nothing but new construction properties. Looking for new construction? Check out all these lists, because these are searchable fields on your MLS. So this is a great way to just continuously drive traffic back to your website. All right, I'm going to pause here for a minute before we get too much into the call capture, and let's go over and show you what I'm talking about when we're talking about building a landing page and a squeeze page. Anybody built a landing page or a squeeze page yet? Yeah? Yep. I see a yes. How'd it go? Was fairly simple to walk through, right? Yeah, what did you do? A squeeze page or landing page or both?
Landing page.
Hey, have you thought of putting a squeeze page in your landing page? You can do that too.
I thought of it, but I didn't get that.
You absolutely can. So when you're building a squeeze page, so for the visual folks like myself, here's my demo website, and here is a search. Okay, and if I were to go to my website and I were to start searching for homes and run a filter here for, I don't know, all the homes in Los Angeles, California, I don't know, anywhere from, let's see, it's pretty expensive over there, so let's just start at the top here. Let's say anything from over like $450 up to $100 million, right? That's a pretty wide span, right? Most of Los Angeles County. I could go down and I could search here, filter it out by beds, baths. I could take out the townhomes, the condos, and just limit myself to single family properties. Most of this should look familiar to you, right? This is similar to how you search on the MLS. You can even add in general options. This is where you can get creative and create those niches. You could say, hey, show me all the pool homes that fit that criteria. Show me all of the newly reduced pool homes in that area. Whatever you decide to slice or dice, when you apply those filters, what happens next? Well, what happens next is that it creates a filter on your website of those properties. So here's a list of 1,767 properties in Los Angeles that meet that criteria. Could I take this link right here and copy it and go put it on my Facebook page and create a post and add that link? Oops, there we go. And will it squeeze people over there? You bet it will. And if that's what I want to do, I can. But if I do that, then what will happen is it should load the main photo from that. There it is. There's the main photo from that listing. There's that. It's the first one. that $10 million property. Now, little pro tip here, once you see that photo populate, you don't even really need the link anymore. You could take this out and you could put your post call to action, your CTA here. You know, looking to buy in Los Angeles for a, you know, whatever, pool home, something, blah, 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 blah. And then you can put your call to action there. And when you post this, what will happen is somebody who comes to your newsfeed or sees this, when they click on that photo, or if you left the link, when they click on the link, it will squeeze them to this page. Now, I can post this link today, tomorrow, a year from next Tuesday, and it's still going to squeeze me to this same filter because I basically ran a filter, right? It's a dynamic link. It's going to update over and over again. Now, the exception to this is if you do a single property, if you just post one property, because that property is going to go off the market, right? It's not going to be active forever. But these multi-property ones, pool homes under $1 million in this area, new construction, 55 and better properties, homes near a golf course, whatever you want to post, those are multi-property squeeze pages, and it'll just be dynamic. So really, you set yourself up with one squeeze page, and you just set a time reminder, a task reminder. Post this every Tuesday on my news, and then make it the property pick of the day, something like that. And it'll be updated every single time. Yeah, so you can just wash, rinse, and repeat. Now, the reason that you don't really want to do it from your website is because when you post it from your website, you're relying on all the defaults that are on your website. Nothing wrong with it. You'll still get leads. People still sign up. But do you remember some of the things we talked about this morning about things like hashtags? Right? Okay, and how that forced registration happens. I believe the default is usually 2, which means they can look at 2 properties on the second photo. That's when the forced registration pops up. But sometimes you want to be a little bit more strategic than that, right? And you want to build in some automation. So this is why you would use a squeeze page. So the squeeze pages and landing pages live in the lead engine. And you'll click on that, and then you'll come over to your squeeze page builder, select your domain. Now, admins, any admins in the office, just remember that you can create squeeze pages not only for your offices, or if you're a team leader, if you're on a team and you have a team account, you can post it for your team, but you can also post it on behalf of your agents. So just keep that in mind. There's a scope picker. Make sure you pick the right website. For most of us agents here, you'll just see your one website there. So you start building it. So what you're going to see across the top are the different options that you have. Now, I have sold properties available on mine. You may not see that if sold properties aren't available through your MLS. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But here's that multi-property. So if I wanted to create that same squeeze page link and I wanted to do pool homes in Los Angeles under $10 million, I can go and choose the location. I could put in a zip code, a county, a neighborhood. I could put a city in here. If I really want to be specific and targeted, maybe you want to draw out a school zone or a school boundary. Homes in this school district, homes in this subdivision, homes in this part of, East Murrieta, wherever you want to do that. Then you're going to do a polygon search. And when you do a polygon map search, what you're going to do is you're going to click on Draw Area, and you're going to go and choose the location. So I know there's a lot of golf courses right here near Del Dios. So I might want to include these golf course areas around my search. So I'm just going to draw out what parts of the area I want to include. I also know there's some really cool ones over here, so you can actually do up to 2 polygon searches. So I'm going to do 2 polygons, and I'm going to include this area over here near Bressy Ranch. And then I'm just going to simply click Apply Selection. And that will pull in only those listings within this polygon area, okay? So you can imagine you can start getting really specific. Now, if you choose to use this option, your geographical areas, rather than your MLS, what this does is it actually gives you a little bit more information. It's kind of like doing a Google Map search because it doesn't pull necessarily based on what your MLS guidelines are. It pulls based on the actual latitude and longitude of where that house is located. What it also does, when I've experimented with it, is it actually sometimes pulls in school boundaries. So if I turned it on and I popped in, say, Los Angeles, well, let's do San Diego, that's where I'm from, San Diego, it's going to pull up not just the cities and locations. Now I've got some school districts in here because it's pulling from a different source as well. So give it a try. My suggestion would be to do some A/B testing and see which one works for you. But if I were to build that Los Angeles, just all of Los Angeles County, that great big space here. And once you start typing it out, it should start giving you some samples here. So if I chose City of Los Angeles, then you're going to go down and choose the listing type. Now we're moving into familiar territory. This is all the same thing that was on the front of my website. So I'm going to go in and pull my single family properties from here. You can pull style, you can pull your price range. I always suggest putting like a floor and a ceiling on these price ranges just to give it a little bit more depth. So I'm going to do from 150,000 up to, I don't know, gosh, it gets expensive there. So what is that, $1 billion? Oh, I'd be surprised. There was a property in Beverly Hills though that was $999 million. It was crazy. Right? I'll sell one and retire for the rest of my life. Then you can choose your beds, baths, even walk scores. Options are general. These are generally general options that are available. Things like fixer-upper opportunities, pool homes. There's your newly builds, open houses that are coming up, green energy efficient, horse properties, things like that. Most of these are very basic options. If you happen to not see an option in here that you know is very, very relevant in your market, and you know for a fact that it's a feed that is available in your MLS, the field that's there, just reach out to support and see if they can't have it added for you. We're pretty good about pulling in feeds when we're allowed to, so just reach out to support. But in this case, we're just gonna look for, pool homes. So I'm gonna look up pool. So these are all the pool homes under $1 billion, well, almost under $1 billion, 150. Now this is where the magic happens in the page configuration. The page configuration allows you to choose, manually set up things. Remember I told you that you don't have a lot of options when you want to add the source. This is one place you can choose your own source. Most everything else will default to what the system source is, like manually added, came from Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, wherever it came from, organic to your website. But let's say the only reason you're creating this squeeze page is to put it on one Facebook group. And you know that you tend to get some good traffic there and some feedback. Maybe it's your own group. How many of you own a Facebook group on Facebook? That is a great way to jumpstart your social media, is to become a moderator and own a Facebook group. Rental properties in this part of Michigan, or all the homes available. That's a great group to start. Real estate groups, things like that. Then you can control what goes on your group. But anyway, maybe that's the Facebook page you want to put in there. You can put your source. Maybe you're only doing this because you want to create a domain for it. You want to go to GoDaddy and you want to buy a domain, Los Angeles homes under $1 million with pools.com. That's kind of long, but maybe you do. Maybe you buy a domain name. And you're going to put this on that domain name. You could create whatever kind of source you want so that you can just keep an eye on it. Because in the business analytics, there is a tool in here that allows you to track source performance. And maybe that's something you want to keep an eye on to monitor your ROI. That would be really helpful. If you leave it blank, you don't have to put anything there. It's going to default to system source, whatever the system source is, okay? Which is PPC, stands for pay-per-click. So if you leave it blank, no worries. It's really mostly for monitoring, but here's the trick. Add a hashtag, okay? Add a hashtag, add a hashtag, add a hashtag, because you're gonna take this hashtag and you're gonna create a follow-up so that you control what search alert is set up for any leads that come into this website. You also have the ability to create a smart campaign that triggers when anybody comes in from this squeeze page. It's gonna trigger because that hashtag was added. So now there's two pieces of really key nurturing pieces of communications that are going out that I control, versus if they came to my website and signed up there, they're just going to go on that default website. And they're going to get whatever the search result is that's from that search. So in this case, I might put like LA pool home buyers, creating a brand new hashtag right here. Doesn't have to be on a lead or anything. It doesn't have to be on a contact record. I just created it right here. So now when anybody comes in and signs up from this squeeze page, they're going to automatically have this hashtag attached. Okay? Now in Facebook, when you post that listing, remember when I posted it right here and it gave me that main listing photo? It usually pulls the first photo that pulls up in the search results. But let's say that you have some compliancy. Maybe you only ever want to post a listing from within your own brokerage. You have those options to do that. Maybe, wouldn't this be great? Maybe you had a $100 million listing and you wanted to include that as the photo. on your Facebook cover photo, you can actually upload the photo from that listing. So this would be a great targeted way of saying, hey, are you looking for a home under $500,000 with a pool that has waterfront views, right? Maybe that's the listing you just took. That defines the listing you just took. Create a multi-property squeeze page, because remember, you can only sell your house once, but you can get in a bunch of buyers that are interested in that type of house, and you can send them all the properties. And maybe one, yours will rise to the top and you'll be able to double in that deal, or two, maybe you'll get another buyer and be able to sell them a whole nother house, right? So be really strategic when you're deciding on how you want to leverage these multi-property squeeze pages, because you can use them for a variety of things. You can also control the property views allowed before that registration. Now, personally, I have a couple of pro tips here. One, I rarely use never. You're basically giving them an opportunity to use your website without signing up and registering. Okay, that hashtag won't attach. You're not going to get any of that follow-up. You're probably not going to get a lead. But if you wanted to create a squeeze page and just simply put it maybe in a newsletter as a link, you might want to do that, in which case you already have them as a lead because you're sending it out through your database anyway. You don't have to worry about it. Just say never. Then it won't annoy the person. They won't see that registration there. So there's a couple things. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to, I don't really want to force somebody into signing up. So maybe you change it to 3 or 5. Now, the one time I'm going to tell you immediate that you're always going to want to do is when you post a single property squeeze page. When you do a single property squeeze page, you don't want to give them 2 chances to look at properties because they may not go to that second one. They may only be there looking for your property, and they're going to bounce and you're not going to get a lead. So you're going to want to use that immediate for that. In this case, I'll stick with the default. Now, when you go to generate the link, that's it. That's all you have to do. And now you're going to generate the link. You're going to get 2. You're going to get a short version, which if you're familiar with like Bitly, it's a shortener, a URL shortener. That's what this is. This is great for when you want to send it in a text message. Maybe you actually want to text this out to somebody that you met. You don't have them in your database yet, and you want to send it to them as a way to drive them over to your website. You could do that, right? Most of the time, you're going to use this long version. All right, the long version here is it's really important in Facebook, especially. Facebook has its own set of compliancy over there, and it doesn't like the short link, so don't use the short link. But you can certainly use the long link in Facebook, and when you go to post it, again, you're just going to post that link, and it's going to pull in that property. You can leave the link here or not, but the point is you've got it posted on your social media. If you want to put it on, I don't know, in your bio section of Instagram or in a tweet. In a tweet, you might want to use the short version because that it looks better there. But look, now we've got a different photo. Homes in LA, homes in Los Angeles, California. That is that's the target that I have. So now I'm off to the races. Now, do I have to do this all the time, or can I set it up to happen automatically? Well, it depends. You could set up you could time block some time. I always recommend setting up about 15, 20 minutes every week to just post and repost your squeeze pages. You can always push them out in like a scheduled email if it's just a targeted group, but I'm always looking for leads, so I'm always wanting to put it on fresh new social media at least once a week. Okay, twice a week is even better. But here's the cool thing. We store your squeeze pages, so you don't have to copy it and paste it and leave it anywhere else. Right up here at the top is going to be your history. So any squeeze page you've built between now and forever is going to be posted in your history. And it's going to have a list of your hashtags. It's going to allow you to view that squeeze page link. And here's where you can copy it and just go repost it over and over again. How cool is that? So this is a great tool to use to trigger some of those automations. So now, let's talk this through. I just created a squeeze page for all those pool home buyers looking for properties under $1 bazillion in Los Angeles. Doesn't it make sense to keep sending them those kind of pools, or those kind of pool homes, those searches? Well, I don't want to rely on the system to do it. It might if they continue to look at properties, but I want to ensure that they're set up on a very specific search alert. So I'm going to go to my marketing section right here.
Just before you get past that, is there any way to edit an existing squeeze page, or do you have to just create a new one?
I think you can go, and let's go look. It's been a while since I've edited one.
To an existing one, you've already got an ad running to.
Oh, if it's already posted out there, no, you'd have to redo that.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's already, especially if it's out running somewhere else, it's not gonna, that particular, yeah, it's you're gonna have to redo it.
Mm-hmm. Just need to refresh it.
Yep.
Just refresh it.
Yeah.
Change the word.
Nope. Nope.
Isn't it true in our area that we just cannot on social media say, here's 20 pool homes and just post that because we're not recognizing that it's not our listing? We have to,
So if it
we have to
directs,
say whose property, who's listing it.
if it directs back to our MLS and to our website, then it is still in compliance. You just can't single an individual property out without giving it
The
credit.
listing agent is on your
If it's a
website.
search,
It,
yeah.
we,
If it's a
it'll
search,
show
it's
the
gonna
listing
direct
brokerage
it back
on
to
your
our
website.
Like the squeeze page, it's going to give them all the information it requires to be in compliance when they're viewing that listing. It is going to show.
It does show that.
Listing presented by,
In the,
you know,
in the
XYZ.
listing, in the listing, right?
Right.
Correct.
So you can see here, Fred Bernstein, this is the listing agent.
Facebook post though?
No, because you're
You
not
wouldn't
promoting
because
any.
you're setting a search.
Yeah, you're not promoting any individual listing. You're just promoting a search within the MLS.
Okay.
And then when they land, when they squeeze over onto this page, here's one of those properties, that bazillion-dollar property. You can see right here the listing is being provided by Fred Bernstein with that's the broker. That's the listing broker. Now your agent, your face, your phone number, your contact information will always be here. You're not being presented as the listing agent. You're being represented as the agent on this website. So for compliancy, that's pretty standard across the board. Anything above and beyond that, always refer to your broker. Yeah, good question. Yeah, so what we just built was a squeeze page. And we went to the lead engine right here. And the squeeze page, technically what we're doing is building a link. We're just building a URL link, but we're building in the filters for the parameters of the kind of properties we want. Like pool homes in a certain area at a certain price point. Or let me go in here and show you what the other options are. You can also build a single property squeeze page, which is going to squeeze them to one property. Now what you need for that is the listing ID. So now this is where you would probably need to really look into the compliance issues because you're promoting one property, okay? But if I wanted to do a single property squeeze page, where's the listing ID on here? Here it is. So this is the MLS ID number. If I want to do a single property squeeze page, all I do is enter the address or the listing ID right here. And again, what I'm doing is I'm controlling the source, I'm building in a hashtag, I'm monitoring the registration views, that's it. And then I'll generate the link. And this, when I go, and you can always go check them out. You can always take the link and go test it, put it in your browser, and do paste and go. And it's going to take me ever so slowly over to my website. I'm sorry, when I'm on hotel Wi-Fi, it tends to happen this way. There it is. There's my property. All right. So now it's going to take me over to that listing right there. So it squeezed me over to that one individual property. Now, you can also do seller squeeze pages. Where does that take you? Well, that's the kind of scenario where you want to squeeze them over to your sell page where they can get a free home valuation of their property. And it's going to squeeze them over to this page. Okay. So you can also do a market report because can they do a market report from your website? They sure can. They can go over here to your, let's see, oh shoot, I should probably have to get out of this page, sorry. Let me open it up again. I've got that new sell page opened. And what it's going to do is it's going to take you over to the market report page that's on your website. It's part of your searches. Hang on one second. And you should be able to do, where is market reports up here? There it is, free market report right there. So they can, I mean, I barely found it and I've been here for 6 years, right? So, so your consumers might find it and they'll see it if they're browsing on your website. But if you want to drive traffic to create a market report, go and create a market report squeeze page that's going to give them an updated snapshot of that market. As a matter of speaking of market reports, one of my favorite little hidden features in kvCORE, because we pull in all those areas that you cover, is down at the bottom, way down here at the bottom, in the areas we cover. This is where you can go and pull up local market information for any one of the cities that are in your areas or your areas that you cover. So for example, let me take you to, I don't know, we'll say Sacramento. So if I was the hyper-local agent, that's not a good one. Well, I guess it is. Good enough for government work. So if I was this local area agent in Sacramento and I wanted to keep my sphere. I wanted to keep my Facebook group. I wanted to keep all those people and all those groups updated on local Sacramento real estate. I don't have to go run a market report. I don't have to go do anything. I just have to go grab that Areas We Cover page link and go copy it and paste it in Facebook. This is kind of cool because this is, it's a dynamic link and it always shows the most popular, the most expensive, and the least expensive property in that area along with some local information. How many listings are in that area? How many new listings, price reductions, open houses coming up, foreclosures and short sales. So this is a great little snapshot page that I can drive traffic to. And if there's subdivisions that are pulled in as well or other areas that are around it, guess what? It'll pull those in as well. So sometimes you can drill down even more locally. There might be a subdivision within that area and it'll pull that information up. Now, what am I gonna do with this? Well, like I said, you can just take the link and you can copy it. You can go paste it on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, any of your social media. You could go buy a domain name that is, sacramentorealestate.com and you could forward it to this page. Every time this page updates, it's dynamic. It's always, whenever somebody goes here, it's always going to be an updated current content. So what are you going to do with that domain? Well, I don't know. Maybe you have a postcard campaign that goes out to people in that area. Over time, you might build up some people that are going to go to this page. So now you're creating a growth system or a click funnel that's driving traffic back to your website. Another thing you could do is you could take this page. Let's just take the link and let's copy it and let's go build a landing page. Because a landing page is different than a squeeze page. We know that a squeeze page squeezes you over to your website. Someplace on your website, group of properties, market report, seller report. But what a landing page does is a landing page actually, it's almost like having a virtual postcard. You're only asking them to register first before they get to the really good stuff that's on the backside of the postcard, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go to the lead engine and I'm going to choose my website, start building it. Now you're gonna get this default with this thoughtful looking lady. She's always gonna be looking up at your logo for you, but that's the background picture. You can change that. And you're going to start by choosing the template you want. So we've got a couple of templates here. We've got lead generation, that's what this is. This is the basic default one. You've got video view, which allows you to put a video in. I like video plus lead because it's basically the same as the registration. You still have to sign up and register on my website. However, there's a nice little intro video that I can put in here. You can use a text lead, which is where you're gonna use your call capture to promote, text to your smart number to get a phone lead. You can use address capture to try and capture their address to do a home valuation for them. There's lots of different options and strategies that you can use this for, but most people start with the basic one. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with the lead generation one. We're gonna build in a hashtag. Why? Because we're going to take all those pool homes in Los Angeles, California, under $1 bazillion, and we want to use that same hashtag, LA pool home buyer, whatever it was, pool home buyer. Now, there's some things you can change on these templates, and there's some things you can't, okay, because it is a template. One thing you can change is what the button says. The default is see list now. Maybe you want to change that call to action to get more info. It'll just update the button. You can't change the font, you can't change the color, but you can change what the button says. The URL after login. Now this is really important because it's optional and you don't have to put anything in here. But if you don't, what's gonna happen is all of your leads that sign up on this landing page that you work so hard to generate are gonna land right on the front page of your website, which is gonna be confusing for them because they're signing up on a landing page or they're signing up thinking they're getting $1 million pool homes. Now they have to go look for it on your website. What the heck is that, right? You want to send them right to where you told them they're going to go. So don't just leave it optional. Put something in there. Now this might be an example of where you put that squeeze page where you set the default to never. They never have to register. Why? Because you've already captured them as a lead right here. You don't need them to re-register on a squeeze page. You've already captured that. So you could actually put that squeeze page that we built right here in the URL after login. What if you were doing a home buyer seminar with one of your mortgage partners and it's a first-time homebuyer seminar, and you're partnering together, co-branded, co-marketed, co-paid, you got to give that lender some credit, right? Maybe you squeeze them over to your lender's page on their website, to their pre-approval page. Maybe your lender has put together a custom page on their website. Redirect them over there, but guess what? You're capturing the lead and putting them in your database right here. Okay? So wherever you send them, just make sure it's, it's significant to what your landing page is about. Okay, anybody already starting to get those creative juices going, thinking, oh, I could use this. I could use this for an open house. I could use this for my next local sponsorship that I'm doing. I could use this for a credit seminar. I could use this for a first-time home buyer seminar, whatever. What about squeezing them using a landing page and then sending them over to a custom page on your website? Remember earlier we talked about those custom pages? You can put custom pages, all that really great content in your resources. Remember I have this page here, quick projects to do before you sell. Maybe that's what my landing page is going to be about. I want to get people to come to this page to watch this video. Okay? Maybe I have more content in here. Maybe I've got my Calendly appointment book calendar on here, and they can book a free home valuation with me, or they can book a free staging design, something like that. So I can take this link, copy it, and use that as my URL after destination. Now I can require the phone number, which makes it mandatory. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to get as many leads, or you're not going to get as much good information. I tend to leave it blank because people don't like to be pushed into giving their cell phone. Your choice. You can change the background. We have lots of stock photos. You're doing that open house that's coming up, use our open house background photo. You have your own open house photo that you want to use, make it a custom photo. Now the only thing about these custom backgrounds, or you could use the primary MLS image, maybe you just want to throw the picture that's on the MLS. But if you want to use your own custom background that's right here, then you want to make sure that it's hosted somewhere, okay? So let me give you a little pro tip. If you already have it hosted like on a Imgur or Bluehost or someplace where you can host photos, stock photos, that's fine, use that. Most people, this might be going over your head. It did it when I first heard it. So what I do, and this is a little insider trick here, is that in the Web and IDX, right over here when you go to blogs, this is one of the very few places in kvCORE that you can actually upload a photo directly to the platform. So if I go to add a blog post and I go to upload my own image into that blog post, I have the option to upload into kvCORE. Now we're going to host it on the kvCORE server and let us worry about it. And it's always going to be there. So I can go to my computer, which is where my photos are. I can grab the photo I want to use, import it, and now guess what I have? I've got a link because we're hosting that photo for you on the kvCORE server. So it's a little tiny workaround. It's a great little tip though if you want to use your own custom backgrounds. You don't need the blog anymore. All you have to do is copy that link. You don't need anything. You don't need to create a blog. You don't need to save any of this. Just delete it, say no. And now go over to your background and paste that link. And there's my background photo. And what's going to happen is this background photo, it shows up here on your landing page, but it's also the page that shows up on your social media post. So when I go to post this, and by the way, another little tip, always start from the top where the white boxes are and then move into the body of your content here. Because if you make a mistake, the only way to go back, there's no undo button. You actually have to start over, okay? So I always say just be cautious and start from the top and work your way down. Because anytime you click a box inside of these text boxes here, it becomes editable, which means maybe you don't want to put drastic price reductions. Maybe you want to change this to pools with cabanas. I don't know. Maybe you don't want anything there. You're just going to double click on it and it makes them go away. I like a nice clean looking landing page, so I'd probably just leave it like this. Now this is your header. This is going to be the header that shows up on your posts, your social media posts. So this is where your call to action goes. Pool homes that are dreamy in LA, right? And then free weekly list of hot buys in and around. I'm just going to put Los Angeles in LA. Or you can change it, this is the subheader, it also shows up on your post. But I'm done, this is it. I'm happy, I like the way it looks. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save it. Once you save it and click OK, you now have technically created a one-page website. And you can use this just like you would use any other website, which means you could go over to GoDaddy or Bluehost and buy yourself a domain name and forward it to this page. And now you have something that you can use on your print materials that's going to take them to this landing page. So for those of you that do postcards, send out cards, any type of custom cards, any type of custom mailers that you do, flyers, any of your print materials, sign writers, put it on a sign writer. Next time you order your business cards, you could put that website and you're going to take them directly to a landing page. How cool is that? How am I doing so far? Is this making sense? Questions?
There's no difference in creating this on an agent page versus like me as an admin on my office page.
There is. If you do it as an admin, make sure that you choose the right domain that you want to create it on. That's why you have that drop-down box. If you were to choose me, kellybajarski.citytoshore.com, you're actually creating a landing page that's going to point people to my website.
Right.
Versus if you chose the company website, it's going to,
If I choose company website, then
it comes in as a company lead.
Yeah, then those just get assigned.
And then it'll go through the lead routing that you have.
Yeah.
And because you're an admin, bonus point, remember that hashtag? Remember, in your lead routing rules, you can actually even have a lead routing rule set up that is attached to that hashtag. So that anything hashtag LA pool home buyers is going to go to that agent, and that agent. You can do all sorts of cool stuff with it. Well, I'm just saying with the domains, I like finding ways to take people from the real world into the digital world. And a domain or a custom text code is a great way to do that. Okay? So, any questions about this? Let me show you what it looks like if we were to post it out onto Facebook. Any questions?
Kelly, would you say that, by using this strategy, using squeeze pages and landing pages, and targeting certain listings
Niches.
consistently, that's one of your top lead generations?
For free?
Yeah.
The riches are in the niches. Yeah. And the trick to it is consistency. You have to be consistent in it. Pick your strategy and be consistent with it. You're not going to get volumes and volumes of leads by posting this one time. You might if you boost it, if you pay for it. Facebook is getting stingier and stingier. They want you to boost all those things. There's all sorts of marketing rules over there. But posting it consistently, repurposing it. Those squeeze pages go really well in a blog. Those squeeze pages fit nicely on a custom page. Those squeeze pages, or even landing pages, they work really well in other areas too. And that's part of marketing and is repurposing. If I'm going to take the time to build a squeeze page, I'm going to figure out 5 different places to use it. And because we store them for you, you can go back and grab it later on. That's why I like the multi-property ones or the seller squeeze page and the market reports, because unlike the single property ones,
They're dynamic.
Yeah.
Update it, then it's going to refresh.
Exactly. So.
Everywhere you put it.
Exactly. So see how that background, that custom photo that I used is right here as the background now, and my header, pool homes that are dreamy in LA, and free weekly list of home buys in and around LA. And I'm compliant because that's my website address. It's on my Facebook post. Questions so far? No? Raise your hand if you learned something new. Okay, good. All right. So now I saved one of my favorite topics, which are text codes. I love text codes. But you got to know a little bit about smart numbers, okay? How many of you know that you have a smart number? Okay, how many of you use the smart number? How many of you are afraid of the smart number? Just raise your hand. Okay. So here's what the smart number does. The smart number is, at the end of the day, there's some things you need to know. When you use a text message or any of the outbound communications that involve texting, it goes through the smart number, okay? And your recipients are going to see that smart number on their phone, in their caller ID. So get used to it because it's your new work phone number, okay? That's what you call it. I've got a new work phone number. Now you have 2 ways to get a hold of me. Because if you have leads in your database and they call the smart number and it's your lead, the computer number knows your cell phone number. It knows your lead's cell phone numbers. It knows the last time you communicated with that lead, and it's going to route that inbound call directly to you. So don't be afraid of it because the system is taking care of you. The other thing that it does is the smart number can be used for lead generation. Because here's a scenario. Let's say I'm driving down the road, which I was for 4 hours yesterday. Got a whole view of Michigan. It was beautiful. And I saw a big billboard on the side of the road. And it said, for the very best in real estate needs, contact us at City to Shore at this number. And I put whatever my smart number is. Let's pretend this one is your office smart number. Okay. Remember, every agent is assigned, they're part of the smart number cohort for the office that they're a part of. Every office has their own smart number, and the agents in that office share that smart number. You don't get an individual one unless you go pay for it. If you want one, go buy one. They're in the marketplace. They're $27 a month. It's cheaper than having a cell phone number. And you can have that smart number replace your office one, and you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff. But if I'm driving down the road and I see a billboard and it says, for the very best in all-star service, contact City Shore agents at this number, and I dial that number on the phone, I call it, well, there's lead routing that's involved with that smart number. So I'm not quite sure how the lead routing is set up. Typically, it's usually by default. It's kind of like a round robin. Everybody gets a chance to get a new phone lead. And so it'll just go from agent to agent. And so you might get a call from kvCORE saying that there's a new lead, right? And it's phone lead. And that number is going to be, that phone number is going to be attached to a contact record that's going to come in as a new lead for you. So if you ever see call capture and the only thing you see there on that your new lead is a phone number, it's because they came in through the smart number, okay? But what if you, now here's the thing, remember it defaults to whatever the lead routing is set up by the office. But what if you want to use the smart number to generate your own phone leads? That's where a text code comes in. It's called call capture. And so in your lead engine, you can go and you can create a call text capture code like McMansion. What I have over here, McMansion, text McMansion to 951-123-4567 for a full list of luxury homes in Del Mar, okay? And what's gonna happen is when I go and I create that code, and I did that kind of quick. Let me do it again. Lead engine, call capture, add code. You're gonna create that code. It's the word that you wanna use, the magic word, McMansion, McMansion. Now, I have two choices. I can send them a listing. All I have to do, it defaults to listing. I just pop the listing ID in here. And then when somebody texts that word McMansion to the phone number, I'm going to capture them as a phone lead because I'm the one that created that text code. It's going to be my phone lead. And there's going to be an auto response that goes out to that person, that new lead, with a link to that listing. How cool is that? That's pretty cool. But what if you wanted to put a little bit more of a message in there, right? You could change this to a message and you could say something like, thanks for your interest. Here's a list of McMansions in LA with pools. What am I going to put after that? Come on, you guys. The squeeze link. I'm going to put my squeeze link after that, right? And I'm probably going to use the short link because this is probably, I don't want that big long one right there. But I'll put the short link right there. This would be a perfect example of creating a growth system. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add, guess what I'm going to add? The magic hashtag. I'm going to add my hashtag here because, again, you could create a follow-up system. And maybe, now remember, you're only going to get their phone number. You're not going to get their email unless they click through on that squeeze page and sign up. They might, but if they don't, the only thing you're going to get is the phone number. So what am I going to do? Well, I could just rely on that default smart campaign, let it run its thing because that's okay too, because anytime there's an email and if I don't have the phone number, it just skips it. It's not going to send it out anyway. So I don't have to worry about it. I could just use the default campaigns that are there. But I could, if I wanted to, go create an entire smart campaign that is nothing but text-based that goes out. And I could put squeeze pages in there all over the page because I'm trying to get that person to give me their email address. I could flat out ask them, hey, what's the best email address for you? I want to send you some properties. Something like that. So you could really kind of layer your system with follow-up in here. And then of course you choose your smart number. I'm part of a bazillion of them, so I'll just pick one of them, but you'll probably just see one. And then you add it, okay? And now I have this text code that is assigned to me. That's my text code that when I use it, it's McMansion. Now I can go and I can get my own billboard. and put it on the side of the road that says Tex McMansion to get a full list of luxury homes in Del Mar or LA, wherever I posted it. I could do that. I could get a sign writer. I could put it on my flyers. You know what I do at open houses? I love doing this at open houses because you know what? Here's the thing I found about open houses is that oftentimes, even though you go to great lengths to have people sign up, even using the Core Open House app to have them sign up, what if you have a herd, a family that comes in? There's 7 of them. One of them's going to sign in on the sign-up sheet, right? Okay, that happens. But what I do is I make a bunch of text codes, and I just sporadically sprinkle them all over the house. Sometimes I run a contest. Hey, text McMansion to be entered into my weekly drawing for a free whatever. Sometimes I'll put information about the Kohler faucet that I think is absolutely amazing, and I want to give them more information, and I'll just create a text code that links over to the Kohler website, right? I'm getting a phone lead. They're getting their Kohler information, right? I did that once with a pool. One time I did an open house, and I put it on a big sign writer outside the gate because it was a gated community, and that was like Fort Knox trying to get through there just to get to my open house. Agents had given up doing open houses there because they couldn't get people through the gate. So I was given a temporary gate code. I created a text code that said text gate code to this number for the gate code and directions to the open house. Put it outside for the 3 hours I was there. Not only did I capture leads from that, for my open house, and it also gave me a little tip when people were coming, because when you text the text code, I got a notification. And so I was like, oh, somebody's coming. And I ran out of the bathroom, which was great. But the other thing is that I captured leads from other people's open houses that day, people that weren't even coming to mine because nobody else had a gate code out front. I got people who lived in the neighborhood whose their friends or their family were coming in for the day and didn't have the gate code. And I followed up on every single one of those because I used the open house app that reminded me, and it was really cool. I got a bunch of really great leads from that. It's really only your creativity that's going to hold you back on how you use these. All right, guys, I have come to the end of my session. I am going to be doing the final session of the day, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit of break, and I know that some people are going to be moving on to other things, so maybe 5 minutes? Is that okay? And I'll stick around and answer questions if anybody has any.